Yeah. Essentially, this is the kind of Tibetan astrological diagram of the. This is the 12 cyclic animals here. Inside here, there's 9 numbers, numbers 1 to 9, which make magic square of 15. They add up to 15 in each direction. These are the Tibetan versions of the numbers. Yeah. So these are called the 9 Mewa in Chinese and Tibetan. Mewa means birthmark, isn't that a blemish or a mark, and 9 marks. Surrounding these are the 8 trigrams of the I Ching. You know the I Ching?
No.
No?
I Ching is like a print.
I Ching is the actual text.
Text, okay.
It's a text of divination, which is made up where you throw coins, asking a question. It's one of the most ancient Chinese texts, the basic text, where a lot of this Chinese symbolism essentially comes from.
That text is called the I Ching.
I Ching, or Book
Okay.
of Changes.
Yeah.
And then I have up here the Richard Wilhelm translation.
Yeah.
Essentially. That's one of the most ancient texts, which is a lot to do with, is essentially about divination, where you use yarrow stalks, a set of 49 sticks, and then you separate them, and you're left, when you count them down, you're left with either a broken line, which is called a yang line, a female line, or a strong line. Sorry, it's the other way around. A strong line is a yang line, is a male line, and a broken line is a female yin line. So they produce these 8 hexagrams, 8 possibilities of 3 lines. So it's like if you throw 3 coins, you get 2 heads and a tail, or you get 2 tails and heads, or you get 3 heads or 3 tails. And each of those gives a different number. It's 4 possible permutations.
Yeah.
And those 4 possible permutations can make an old line like this, or a young line, a young solid line, an old weak line, or a young weak line. And from that you get 64 hexagrams, and each of those hexagrams gives a different image. So if you have a question, you can throw 3 coins 6 times and come up with a trigram, 2 sets of trigrams which make 6 lines, and then you can read what the prediction or prognostication is.
So some way to read the future in a way.
It's like reading the signs of that moment in time when you threw with a question in your mind.
Ah, okay.
It's like, because you have this question, you already know the answer, so you throw the coins and the answer essentially is already coming from yourself.
Oh, okay.
It takes the question away. If you have a pressing question,
Yeah.
and you throw the I Ching, I find it alleviates the problem. If you have something on your mind all the time.
Okay, so basically, I would throw those coins, and then how would it fit into this sort of map, or is
Well,
it
that's just essentially what these trigrams are. I'm just saying that there's a system of 9 numbers.
Yeah.
Then there's a system of 8 possible. These represent different aspects. Like this one here represents fire, the element of fire. This one here represents the element of earth.
Yeah.
This is a lake. Yeah.
Hold on a second. Maybe we sort of zoom on that because we never get that out
Well, I
of a
can
picture.
explain
Yeah,
this if we can get a photo of this.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
but then
explain.
when
Yes,
you,
please, if you
you
just say what you said.
yeah, because you
these-
can point at it.
These images, essentially, this one is called Lai, and it's the trigram of fire. It's 2 strong lines with a weak line in the middle. So it's like the image of a flame. Earth is 3 broken lines like this. This is fire. Earth is the next one. This one here is a lake. It's like the earth with the water on top. This one here is heaven. 3 strong lines. This one here is water. This one here is a mountain. This one here is thunder, and this one here is wood or wind. So these trigrams create those images, which are in a sense to do with the landscape also. The image of wood, wind, a lake, thunder, fire, a mountain, heaven, earth. So these kind of symbols essentially are to do with the whole inner and the relationship between the whole inner and outer worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have these 12 animals, yeah. And then outside, this is inscribed on the shell of a tortoise. This whole diagram, this cosmological diagram. And this is the tortoise's head. The tail is down here with a vajra on the end of it. And this is the underside of its shell, so this is kind of inscribed on the underside of the shell. So at the top is flame, so this is the element of fire. This is the direction is the north. The bottom is water down here. That's the element of water in the south. Earth is represented at the center, which is represented by these 4 squares here in the cardinal directions, and also by these frogs, which are impaled on sticks. They represent the element earth. It's a golden frog with turquoise spots. And then you have, over here you have a wood, which is in this direction, which is the eastern direction, and over here you have metal, which is in the western direction. So these elements essentially represent earth. Earth is at the center, fire is in the north direction, water is in the south direction, wood is in the easterly direction, and metal is in the westerly direction, which is what I've put on this little diagram here. And then you have the relationships of the metals, the elements, how they work together.
Yeah.
And here I've put the relationship of the elements to each other. And that makes sense if one can understand that. Water produces wood. Water makes wood grow, makes trees grow. And water produces wood but destroys fire. You put water on fire, it goes out. Fire produces earth. If you burn things, you have stuff left over, which then becomes earth. But destroys metal. Fire melts metal. Yeah?
Okay.
Metal produces water. If you have metal out in the morning, dew will condense on it. So metal attracts water. But metal destroys wood, like an axe. Yeah? Wood produces fire, obviously, but wood destroys the earth. So when you grow trees, it eats the earth as well. You know? Then earth produces metal. Metal comes from the earth. And metal is destroyed, but earth is destroyed by water, so it can be washed away in a flood. So you have this cycle of the elements.